For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican Post Game Report. Much love to the flock. Appreciate y'all joining us for this episode of Pelican Post Game Report, entitled Pelicans Showing Interest in Point Guard Scoot Henderson. Let's play a clip right here from Shams Charania about him picking up the scoop about the Pelicans. Is blasting out right now. We'll kind of react to this thing. I'm Big Q in DC. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Let's listen to the report by Shams Charania. Here we go.
The Pelicans are expected to aggressively pursue a top pick, potentially 2 or 3, in this upcoming NBA draft with their eyes set on Scoot Henderson, sources tell me. Henderson and Alabama's Brandon Miller are vying to potentially go number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets in the draft. Henderson worked out on Sunday in Charlotte, and Miller goes on Tuesday. Expect the Hornets to further solidify their draft board as this week closes, but the Pelicans are among teams seriously pursuing that number 2 overall pick.
All right, that's what Shams Charania is dropping on the scoop right there. DC, we're gonna bring you into the broadcast, my brother. Welcome into the stream. Let's cover this, man. Let's talk about what Shams is talking about with the Pelicans showing interest in one Scoot Henderson. And of course, obviously, the thought process would be for a trade to happen as the Pelicans are currently 14th in the first round. That's the only pick this year. And then moving up, 12 spots to get to number 2 and number 3 based on where they feel they need to be to get an opportunity to get to Scoot. So if this is just merely an inquiry by the Pelicans organization, we'll figure that out. It'll come out later on, but they're showing interest in what it would take to move up to go and get them. So let's kind of delve into this situation. Obviously, these teams are going to want somebody who I me personally, I'm not giving up my core guys, which is BI and Zion, but let's hear what your thoughts on it.
I ain't giving up Trey Murphy either. Anybody else, I definitely would put on the table for Scoot. But here we are trying to get the scoop on Scoot, trying to scoot on down to New Orleans, man. And how serious are these rumors or leaks? I'm sure the Pels are probably doing their due diligence, or maybe they're just doing the wise thing to see if how many picks would it take? How could we get them? And then you just worry about everything later, because I see a scenario where, outside of Brandon Ingram or Zion, what would Charlotte really want? Well, we have picks, so they could be curious about that. And if we were to acquire a guy like Scoot, how's that going to work with a backcourt of CJ McCollum? Are we looking at possibly maybe sending them CJ McCollum and maybe taking back a guy like Gordon Hayward? He's probably got a lot of money tied up over there. CJ would definitely be the better player out of the two. So they would be happy about that, as well as getting some picks. And we get back a guy like Scoot Henderson that we could actually start as a pure point guard, who I think pretty much does a little bit of everything pretty damn good, man. Dude's a great scorer of the basketball, elite athleticism, could jump out the gym, kind of reminds you like D Rose, Russ, how he attacks that, man, just supreme athlete. But he's not just an athlete, he's actually an intelligent basketball player as well. See him being a pretty damn good point guard. His defensive ability is not bad either. He's just, he's a smaller point guard when you got guys like Cade Cunningham, they're 6'8". So Scoot's some reports say 6'4", some say 6'2", so somewhere around there. I think if we could pull it off without giving up any of our core guys, and for me, the core, to me, obviously CJ would be a part of that, but the core of the future for me is Trey Murphy, Zion, and BI. I'm not trying to give up those 3 guys. Any other combination of anybody else for Scoot Henderson, I'll be all in.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, when we take a look at, what's going on with this. I don't know exactly, if this is just, me personally, it just feels like this is a situation where the Pelicans are just doing some interest to see what could go on with them. I don't think it's I'm not gonna say they're not serious about it. This is an inquiry, and this is what usually what leads to trades getting happening. Like, let's find out what you guys want for possibly moving up if you're interested in it. But yes,
Right.
indeed, I disagree with giving up a Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram. If you're talking about a core, Pelicans haven't put this. These guys have played together all of 12 games last year, and you can look at Scoot. We got the footage on him online. He's a phenomenal point guard. He'll definitely represent a lot. The Pelicans do have trade capital. They have a lot of draft picks that they can assemble to throw out there. We'll see how it all shakes and bakes, man. But with everything that's going on with Zion Williamson now, and then, of course, the Pelicans are inquiring by Scoop. By proxy, people are going to say, oh, they're going to trade Zion Williamson to acquire this player. But I don't think you sacrifice the core of the Pelicans just yet. There are other ways you can make this happen if this is something that it will happen. But something tell me other teams are going to get involved, DC, too, in the pursuit of Scoot Henderson. So the Pelicans do have a lot of draft picks they could trade. They do have some players. You mentioned C.J. McCollum trading out for Gordon Hayward, who I think he has a couple of years left on his deal, $30-something million. I think that's probably the most unattractive contract that they want to offload there. So it's we'll see exactly how this stuff shakes, man. But it's early on with it, man. So me personally, I think it's just an inquiry, but we'll find out more as we move forward into this thing. But moving up from 14 DC to 2, man. Listen, that's not going to be easy, brother.
Or maybe we're not looking at moving up from 14 to 2. Maybe we still keep 14 and 2, and we just open up the treasure chest of future picks we have as well as our own. Like, there's a lot of different ways that this can play out, but you're talking about trading for an actual top pick, so they don't necessarily have to do anything far as money's concerned. Matching capital, you're trying to get a pick. So there's a bunch of different ways we can do this if we trade assets for assets. So it's really about what do they want and what are the Pels willing to give up? How bad do we really want Scoot? Do we want him bad enough to consider trading a guy like Zion or B.I.? I don't know. But at this point, man, you have to think anything and everything could possibly be in play because we don't know how serious they are about getting this done and how serious they are about attaching a player to it. But this all could be some type of misdirection, or maybe the Pels were calling and inquire about it and you had some form of a leak. And the situation is basically just all hearsay, or it's partially true, partially false. But we won't know fully until the smoke clears, man. Usually where there's smoke, there's fire. So the one thing I am convinced about, the Pels are definitely hitting the phone lines, man, and try to turn over every rock, and turn over every leaf, see what they can do, see what's underneath there, and how they can go about improving this team and making things better. And hopefully we make the right move and pushes us forward into championship contention.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Well, listen, fam, we'll be back on a later edition of the Pelican Post Game Report. We got one coming out later on today, talking about the money situation dealing with the Pelicans and a look at the window. What kind of window we dealing with the Pelicans and the current core of the team headed into the near future. And the Pelicans have to start thinking about that thing, man. With all of the injuries that had happened with the team over the last couple of years, we're eating into that time frame, and they're looking to kind of do something. So we extended C.J. McCollum. What was it last year? There were talks dealing with Valanciunas. So the Pelicans are kind of weighing in all their options here, and I agree with you. I think you need to turn over all the rocks that you could see to see if you could find any decent options here. But the jump from 14.
Don't forget about the leaves too, Q.
That's right. The leaves, the rocks, the dirt, everything. Turn all of it over. Yeah, that's right. Turn it all over. All right, so anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Pelican Post Game Report. Listen, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the bell, and the subscribe button. And feel free to share the show on your social media feed. The PPR Weekly, we in the building. Pelican Post Game Report, the longest running #1 independent Pelican podcast in the business. #1. So with that being said, we're going to get out on that. Much love to the fam. We appreciate you guys. Share the stream for us. We're going to holler at you on the flip side. Go Pelicans.